Hello and welcome to ILTV's Israel Daily. I'm Aaron Porras, and coming up in today's newscast, a string of major ISIS terror attacks prevented by the Shin Bet. Meanwhile, the government adopts new standards that may soon offer Israelis big savings. And finally, Israeli aid organizations helping out in the wake of massive, devastating hurricanes. Terror gripping the region again this week as a Palestinian terror cell opens fire on civilian vehicles in northern Judea and Samaria, injuring one. An Israeli taxi driver injured Sunday morning as a terrorist opening fire on his vehicle in the northern West Bank by the settlement of Itamar. Likewise, a bus targeted in the shooting perpetrated by the so-called Lion's Den terror cell, a Palestinian group based in the Nablus or Shechem area, which has been connected to a number of attacks in recent months. Additionally, in Nablus's Martyrs Square, Palestinians handing out sweets in celebration of the attack, which was likely pre-planned as Palestinian cameramen positioned before the attack on a hill overlooking the scene. The IDF, meantime, opening a probe and searching for the suspects. Now, while Palestinian groups are seemingly increasing attempts to attack Israelis in recent weeks among the Jewish high holiday season, the Islamic State, or ISIS, similarly back in the news. According to the Shin Bet security agency, at least 6 Arab men affiliated with the Islamic State arrested for plans to commit major terror attacks. All of the men, aged between 18 and 25, originating from Nazareth in northern Israel, and they were said to have consumed a large amount of ISIS content. They also attempted to obtain weapons for their attacks and to recruit others to their cause. Then as for their targets, security forces saying that they sought to attack a Muslim school in the Arab-majority city of Nazareth, where they're from, because it, quote, worked in the way of the infidels, end quote. Further, the Shin Bet saying that the cell planned to target a police station in Nazareth, a populous bus stop in northern Israel, a forest popular with Jewish Israeli visitors, and several other locations. Earlier this year, several dozen alleged ISIS members were arrested in the wake of 2 deadly attacks connected to the terror group in Hadera, Beersheba, and Jerusalem. Moving on to politics now, Prime Minister Lapid's Yesh Atid party taking aim at Israeli news channel 14 by petitioning the Elections Committee to recategorize the platform as a political outlet on behalf of the Likud. And if this happens, it would effectively shut the channel down for violating election laws. Here with the details from Channel 14, Asaf Nissan. Asaf, it's great to have you back in studio. Thanks for coming.
Great to be back here, Aaron.
All right, so first of all, let's start with some of the basics. What content is Yesh Atid specifically using for their petition?
We're talking about basically fruitless efforts to shut down Channel 14. We're talking about a complaint coming from Yesh Atid that all the channels does is pretty much criticize his behavior, not calling him the prime minister, but alternate prime minister, which is actually not true. It's personally someone who wrote and produced some of the shows. I literally write Prime Minister Yair Lapid. I don't write alternate prime minister. And those claims, plus with the fact that we're only giving stage to the right wing and not anyone from the center left, those are pretty much the basis coming forward. Now let me be blunt. This is absolute nonsense, because we literally have called them time after time, ever since I was there for the last 3 months. And there's no basis to that claim, because all they say is, we're not interested, no thank you, we don't want to come to a channel that's considered a right-wing channel. They have a lot of problems with it because we're also considered a conservative channel.
Well, so again, how would you fight back against this petition? Because obviously I understand that Channel 14 is appealing the move.
Of course, there's the appeals, there's the live protest that's going to happen probably. Again, we're still talking about initial stages, so it does tend to know where we're going with. But from what I know already, some of the programs are actually planning to set up shop today in front of Prime Minister Yair Lapid's house, airing from there, kind of doing it as a direct protest to the decision to petition against Channel 14.
So Channel 14 programming is setting up the normal programming, but outside of Prime Minister Lapid?
Exactly.
All right. Do you think he'll actually come out? Because I know that the channel has reached out to Lapid to say, we invite you now in relation to this petition.
The channel invited him ever since he came into prime ministership. And I'm sure they're records for it. There's progress. There's been calls all the time made to his party. MKs from his party came to the channel. Merav Michaeli herself came to the channel. They had the Labor Party.
Well, Labor is not Yesh Atid.
So what? They can't call us a propaganda channel if we are bringing people from the left in. This is a legitimate news claim. This is a public effort to try to shut us up.
All right, so Likud fired back, of course, by filing a similar claim against Channel 12, saying that Channel 12 was actually, anti-Netanyahu and pro-Yesh Atid. Is this creating a situation where it becomes commonplace to use the media as cannon fodder in an election campaign? And how dangerous is that?
I think this is a very dangerous precedent. First of all, let me go back to the fact that we're talking about something that's not new. I mean, if we look at the U.S., Fox News didn't help President Trump during his elections, during his campaign, always giving positive feedback to him while bashing President Biden. Pretty much doing still now against President Biden.
Well, I don't know if it's exactly fair to point to a foreign country anyway, because Israel has its own election law.
But again, this is not fair, because then you're shifting the blame to the fact that we're saying that we're considered a propaganda channel, working just for the Likud, which is completely not true. And then again, putting this as a precedent is a very dangerous precedent. Putting the media as part of the political discussion loses all, I would say, objectivity in the news and everyone in TV in general, even though, let's be honest, objectivity has died quite a while ago.
All right, well, it's a sad day in the media, I guess, when that happens. Asaf Nissan, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much.
All right, now, in a potentially life-changing agreement, the Israeli government is approving a plan to adopt EU and, in some cases, American food safety standards and to simultaneously lift a large majority of the Israeli guidelines. Joining to discuss is Dr. Alex Cohen, value creation expert with the Academic College of Tel Aviv Jaffa. Dr. Cohen, thank you so much for being with us. So is all of this in hopes of drastically lowering the high cost of living in Israel, which today is among the highest in the OECD? Do you think that it will work?
Yeah. Yes, I'm very optimistic. In the past, the measures used to be reduction of taxes. Reduction of taxes did not reach the final user. Somehow the importers decided to keep these discounts for themselves and increase their profits. And the final user did not see this in a variety of products. The big problem with Israel is that we have a relatively narrow selection because of these unique Israeli standards, which mean that manufacturers have to customize their products for the Israeli standards. I'll just give you an example. Mercedes-Benz minibuses, you have the Israeli standard requires a wider step than is originally provided with the automobile. And the question is, would Mercedes-Benz be willing to adjust to these requirements? And very many companies would say, no, thank you. So by removing these specific standards, by accepting European and in some cases American standards, Israelis can now consume standard products which are accepted by the modern world, and this way supply will grow tremendously.
Wow. All right. So the new adoption will begin to take effect January 1st, but it is staggered. How long will it be before consumers actually feel the changes?
Well, of course, it will take time. I would believe it will take perhaps something like over half a year. I believe that more nimble importers would be faster. Some products that are easy to import, that they do not require a special kosher authorization, things like that, I believe would come into the country. One example is, for instance, bicycles, which until now were very, very difficult to import. You needed to take it and get authorization from the Israeli Standards Institution, and every container you need to take some sample bike and have it authorized again. I believe that this is a way of finding new bike manufacturers that manufacture excellent bikes that have standards, Western standards, and bringing them to Israel. I hope this would happen with many food products. Tuna fish was a product that was very controversial in Israel because we discovered that we were getting inferior tuna fish for superior prices. We would like the opposite to be the case. So it would take 6 months to a year and a half for this to actually have impact on the market.
To watch full episodes of ILTV's Israel Daily and tons of other content from Israel, visit our website at iltv.tv or download the ILTV Plus app.